You can stay with us for as long as you need, but the same rules still apply,
No,
right?
don't get in your business. And don't put the knife back in the jelly after I done licked it.
Are you doing that?
No, that was a joke, baby.
No. Do you want your own
Congratulations,
shelf
Grandpa.
in the...
Cheers.
Welcome back to Here's My Thing podcast, where we discuss movie reviews, relationships, and more. Today we're talking about Unprisoned. We're going to break down the characters, discuss the ending, and hear what you have to say in the comments. Unprisoned follows Paige and her father Edwin as he returns and reacclimates himself into society after spending 17 years in prison. And he's a repeated felon. He's a returning felon. And Paige is now a relationship therapist. Paige has a lot of resentment for her father. She would have preferred to be raised by him than others. Her biological mother she knows nothing of. She was never in her life and seems to be some person that she doesn't really care to meet. And Paige just has a lot of trauma that she unpacks. And we see that when we see her inner child appear on screen. Paige is constantly kind of interacting with her inner child, her inner trauma, and the things that she just hasn't dealt with from having her father in and out of her life. She had to grow without her father and be raised either in foster care or with his girlfriend that he left her with. A girlfriend that she thought wasn't capable of raising a child, who honestly raised her simply because of her care and love for Edwin, and not generally because of her care and love for Paige. She did grow to love Paige, and she did raise her as well as she could raise her, but Paige feels like her upbringing just wasn't what she needed as a child. And because she didn't have her father as a positive male role model or positive male example of what love should look like, she often makes herself available for those who are emotionally unavailable, such as her married but faking a separation Bill. He's constantly unavailable for Paige, and whenever Paige raises her standards and expectations, he disappears for weeks on end. And so she makes herself available for people who are unavailable, although she's a relationship therapist. They always say it's easier to take someone else's advice than your own. Edwin seemed to have witnessed his mother get pulled out of his household in front of him by police officers when he was a child. And that was very traumatic for young Edwin to see, because he felt like he did not defend his mother. He wasn't able to support her in that moment of need. And he's been running from his own trauma ever since. And he runs in the bad crowd and is often getting himself caught up. And so he repeatedly gets thrown into jail. But something that we noticed towards the end is that he feels like he lets down Paige too frequently, and that he needs to figure things out. And his need for figuring things out often leads him back to jail. Edwin's parole officer is like a positive male figure in Paige's life, and she just doesn't know how to see and accept that. And so she says, hey, I don't actually love you. It was easier for her to fall in love with Bill, but it was super hard for her to fall in love with Mal. And so because of her struggle, she walks away from someone that actually would be beneficial for her. And instead of building and taking it slow and learning who she is in this new relationship, she's like, yeah, I think what I need right now is a pause. And while she may need a pause, she was more willing to provide Bill the grace that she just wasn't able to provide Mal as she explores who she is and who she's becoming. Meanwhile, Edwin is going back and returning to his old life because he doesn't know how to face his own trauma and face the realities of whenever he tries to fix something, he really doesn't try to fix it. He kind of implodes. And 44% of felons return within the first year of leaving prison. So I expect to see them unpack that statistic in season 2. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope that they dive a little deeper in all of the characters and introduce some new ones. I think it's a great series, and it has great potential to really show how childhood trauma has impacted everyone's adulthood. And so we see that with Paige, we see that with Edwin. And so I'm excited to see how they unpack this further.